Fantasy, you're in the 06010. Focus. Fantasy Focus.
What's good, friends? Welcome into Fantasy Focus Football, presented by Little Caesars, alongside Mike Clay and Field Yates. My name is Daniel Dopp, here to bring you part 2 of our Week 10 preview. We've got a lot on today's show. We're going to do a Thursday Night Football recap. We're going to dive into this preview. We got shouts of the week. You know what, Field? I'm glad you said something about it, because I think I can speak on all of our behalves. 99.5% of the time, this is just an unbelievable job. I love what we get to do. I love being able to work with you guys. And even Mike. Every once in a while on Thursday night, though, I wish I was an accountant that could just shut off the TV and go to bed, because that game just sucked.
You guys just don't get football, okay?
Is that what it is?
Defensive battle.
Yeah, you
just don't get the X's and O's, okay? Football's not about entertainment, okay?
Oh, okay,
it's about
got it.
getting down to it and watching those matchups in the trenches, or watching the good blocks,
the big guys,
good
the blocks.
tackling. That's what football's about, okay? What year is it? Is it 1920?
I'll tell you what.
Yeah,
actually, if you love
1925, not
if
2000.
punting is your favorite style of football, you had a great game last night.
Actually,
All right,
punting was
Cole
terrible.
did. Yeah. AJ Cole was awesome.
Yeah,
with
the
other side was bad.
That's a good point. I
Croshaw.
wonder, have we ever seen such a discrepancy in
two
punting?
No.
Okay. That's what we were watching last night, though. Was
One of
Seriously.
those guys was a 6th-round pick this year.
Yeah, and he
Broncos
Amazing.
He
drafted
picked it up in the second half, but the first half there was some punts there. I was like, that's
was
what I would do
brutal.
if I was punting in the NFL. That's
what it would look like.
Yes.
Yeah. All right,
so-
we'll get into it in just a moment. Really quickly, I gotta pay off the rest of the top of the show.
pay bills.
Our buddy Eric Moody is in chat. Make sure you go hang out with Eric Moody. We're gonna have some fun stuff in our YouTube chat a little bit later in the show. We got some questions we're gonna give to you guys. Also, shout out to our friends over at Trophy Smack. TrophySmack.com. Use the promo code FOCUS10 for 10% off your order over there. And I say now, we dive into what was Thursday Night Football.
This will be quick.
And we're over.
Raiders 7, Broncos 10. I hate to say I told you so, guys, but Troy Franklin was the only wide receiver of note for the Denver Broncos.
Unbelievable.
Honestly, so little happened that it feels like there are very few takeaways from this one. Field, do you just want to lead off with what your first was?
No, let's talk about the takeaway that matters the most to all of us. The heck happened to Brock Bowers?
Yeah,
Crazy.
that was wild.
There's no, I was thinking about it on the way in, what is the justification? What's the excuse you can rely upon if you are Chip Kelly or Pete Carroll right now? And
Broncos
Brock Bowers,
defense,
stop.
probably.
Nah.
That's all.
I don't care if it's the 85 Bears.
No, I
blended with-
agree with you. I'm saying that's what your excuse is.
He
the
had
Broncos defense.
one catch for 31 yards.
Yeah.
He had 3 targets. I have to give myself some credit. Earlier this week, after Jacoby Myers got traded, I tweeted that Brock Bowers might average 31 targets per game.
Yep.
I have to admit now that I was actually
It was a
referring to
typo.
yards.
It was a typo. Yeah, got it.
31 yards a game? Are you kidding me? One friggin' catch for Brock Bowers?
Plus side is, over the last 2 games, he's
knew you were
averaging
gonna do
22 and a half fantasy points per game.
And that's accurate. Oh my God.
But-
it sucks because and I have a team. I have Brock Bowers on 3 teams. 2 of them managed to survive
Nice.
the absence or the relative absence of Brock Bowers prior to last week. One of them is just an absolute dud. It just sucks. I hate watching that team. But I kind of felt like, hey, maybe I can be the upset guy for the rest of the way in that league.
Sure.
And the other 2, I'll be okay. No,
Nah.
just flat no. Like last night, what a terrible way to start the week. And by the way, it's not like there's anything you can do about it, right? My options to replace Brock Bowers sucked for the 5 weeks he was out. But yeah, all of it sucked. All of it was terrible.
Yeah, but here's the thing: you have so many mouths to feed, right? Then 2 young receivers. They finally got them going. Deontay Thornton
and more mad.
And Jack Besh must have had huge games.
Must have had
right?
big games.
They must have gone, or they barely saw the ball.
It just sucks. It just sucks.
One of
I don't
those.
care what the excuses are. There is no excuse that validates Brock Bowers having 1 catch for 31 yards and then 1 rush for -4 yards. Ashton Jeanty was fine. He was totally 15 plus fantasy points, I think it was, for Jeanty, or 15 on the
he was
nose. He
fine.
found the end zone. He played a ton. He got 5 targets. He had 19 carries, there was actually some meat left on the bone. He dropped 2 of his 5 targets,
One was a
including
pick.
one that led to an
Yeah.
interception. Jeanty was fine. Troy Franklin, great. Cortland Sutton has kind of become a guy that you've learned to not expect every week to be a boom. Bo Nix was
Hold on. This was supposed to be a secondary that Bo Nix was supposed to take advantage of.
I don't know, dude. It just all sucked. My brain is
It
foggy.
did suck.
From
It
watching
did.
that crap last night.
Nix did not have a good game. Now Troy Franklin is out targeted. Cortland Sutton 73 to 69 so far this season, which is unbelievable.
That's right,
I will
baby.
say this about Bo Nix. Last night was rough. Maybe you excuse it to Thursday night divisional game or just a bad game. But look, he had 18-plus fantasy points in 3 straight before this one. 17-plus in 60% of his games this season. So he'll be okay as a fringe QB1. But Evan Ingram, lost cause, drop him. RJ Harvey, obviously we knew the regression was coming for him.
Clock struck midnight.
Yes, exactly right. J.K. Dobbins, still a very good runner. You said this a bunch of times in our group chat last night.
Yes, you did.
He's such a solid runner, which he is. 1 catch for 7 yards. Still not doing it as a pass catcher.
9.4 fantasy points.
And on the other side, again, you predicted this as well. Tyler Lockett. That was their pass.
That's the guy.
The guy could not get on the field for the Titans.
Yep.
I know.
And he's their guy.
And he's their number 1 receiver for the Raiders. And how are you going to? How is that your game plan to win in the end? I don't.
Honestly,
I loved Lockett. Obviously, a fantasy legend there for a while, but that's not a good plan of attack in 2025.
I think that the league should fine both Pete Carroll and Geno Smith for not targeting Brock Bowers more in this game. Anytime Michael Mayer or Tyler Lockett has more opportunities than Brock Bowers.
Yeah.
I can sort of get on board with Michael Mayer playing a real role. Like, he was the 37th pick in the draft. He's a good player. But Brock Bowers, I mean, there should be plenty of room for both of them to eat. I got to imagine the Broncos defense was perhaps the highest scoring. Oh, no. Ashton Genty was slightly higher scoring than the Broncos defense, but not by much. 15.3 for Genty, 15.0 for Troy Franklin. Just a disaster. What did the Broncos defense finish with last night? Let me find this out.
They had a lot of sacks, right? Because that's all they do is just
they
generate
just
sacks.
sack. They have like 18 more sacks than any other team in the entire NFL last season.
How many points, really quickly, did you say that Ashton Genty had?
15.3. So what did the Broncos defense do last night?
Broncos defense had 16 fantasy.
That's right. Always good when the defense is the highest scoring player
of the week.
In the entire game. Let's move on from this.
Well, we got a question. Hold on. Because I think we're not the only ones that feel this way. Our chat also, I think, feels the same way that we do. We have a mailbag from Scott McClory. The NFL announced this morning that both the Raiders and the Broncos will officially receive a loss for making us watch that hot garbage of a game last night.
Scott, from your lips to God's ears. And just an announcement, by the way. The Broncos have the best record in the NFL.
Yeah,
there is no other team.
Not after watching that game, it doesn't
get
feel
there.
like
The
it.
Patriots can get there this weekend. I think one more team can get there this weekend.
Patriots were the Patriots, Broncos, and one other team had the same winning percentage going into last week. Who's the Colts? Is it the Colts?
Colts, might be the Colts.
The Patriots and the Colts can get there by Sunday mid-afternoon.
Yeah.
The Colts play the early game, obviously, on Sunday morning. But the Denver Broncos, for 72 hours, are guaranteed to be the only team.
Yeah.
Dude.
And by the way, just as we
8-2
predicted,
record.
Broncos,
That's incredible.
Colts, and
That's what I was just going to say.
Patriots.
Broncos, Colts, Patriots in the AFC.
Best 3 teams in the league by win percentage. Yeah.
Broncos play the Chiefs next week. That will be a very interesting test for them. Their defense is the best in the NFL. I don't think it's a debate, but that offense leaves a lot to be desired.
It sure does.
I think Sean Payton sometimes gets in his own head.
Mm-hmm.
Like last night, there was a 3rd-and-1 play where it was like the entire drive they'd been running the football. It was like J.K. Dobbins for 6, J.K. Dobbins for 4, J.K. Dobbins for 7, 3rd-and-1. Let's throw the ball behind the line of scrimmage to Cortland Sutton, who's then going to attempt to pass.
Yes.
But because nobody was open, he had to run, and he got like -3 yards.
It was such a weird-looking play.
Weird game.
Not great.
Anyway,
Not great.
Move on.
All right. I want to say one thing real quickly before we get to our starts of the week. Yesterday at Lunch Field, I went to lunch with our friend Mike Clay. Him and I were talking about the show, going through a bunch of stuff. And as we get up to pay, Mike conveniently taps his back pocket and he goes, "Oh no, Daniel." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't have my wallet with me. Can you pay for my lunch, please?" And he got the most expensive thing at the cafe yesterday.
Like a Wagyu steak or
I
something?
got a big wrap.
Burrito?
What I got?
He had a huge burrito wrap, but it wasn't a regular burrito wrap. He went to the sushi roll and had him fill the burrito with sushi. It was a $74 wrap.
What the
I had
heck?
to pay for Mike's food yesterday.
Yeah, I mean,
Has he ever done that to you?
He has, like once a week. But
this was a plan. I did this on purpose.
Oh, okay.
what
got
about
it.
Apple Pay? You don't have that on your phone?
He didn't have his phone with him either. He didn't have his phone
I
or
had
his
my phone. I
wallet.
didn't even think of that. I usually just go with the hard credit card because I'm an old person. But yeah, no, thanks for lunch, by the way.
Yeah, I just wanted to say I had the privilege of picking up Mike's tab yesterday.
Appreciate that. It was
So
a delicious burrito. So
yeah.
thank you.
Well, all right. Well, as a return, I would like some haikus as payment. Mike Clay, we're going to do some starts of the week here. Mike Clay has got 3 haikus that he has brought to the table.
You brought 3 to the table?
All right, hold on.
Do you own all of these things that
Oh
you're
my
wearing
gosh,
right now?
we're getting
This is
into it.
Daniel's. Yep.
This meaning what?
Yes.
What? This
the
is,
scarf.
I'm
The scarf.
going to tell my poems. I'm going
All
to
right.
read my poems.
I'm going to tell my poems.
Tell my
Read
poems.
my poems. I'm gonna get a photo of this just while
Let's
we're
do it. All right.
So this is what we're going to do. I'm going to read. I wrote 3 because much like you, I can't, when you did your stand-up comedy, I can't follow the rules.
Exactly.
So, I wrote 3 of them. They just came to me because this is just what I do. I mean, look at me.
I need to let people,
Obviously.
the people at home, in case you're not watching our
He looks
YouTube
amazing.
chat, Mike's got a scarf on. He's got some glasses on. You've got a hat, a real cool, like, Scat
nice
Daddy hat.
hat.
That looks
Fedora.
great. Yeah,
If I was gonna
fedora.
go out
Scat
Scat
Daddy?
Daddy,
What
yeah.
is a Scat Daddy hat? Is that the real thing?
Oh, isn't like Jason Mraz like like?
Oh yeah,
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
If I was going to go out and
I don't know. I called him that.
Yeah, I mean it's probably right. I'm
Yeah.
not very.
if you're going to
into
do
the hat game.
if you're going to do a reading, you have to dress the part.
Absolutely,
right?
absolutely.
So I wrote 3, and what we're going to do is I'll give you a name for them at the end, and then we'll post them on we'll
On
let
the chat?
we'll let the chat vote on the best one. Okay,
Love that.
Here you go. Ready?
First one.
First one. I set my lineup. Stacked team ready to destroy. Lost again. Despair. That one's called Despair.
Well done.
That was
I like
good.
that.
That was good. I like
It's
this.
very
That's a
dramatic
good
reading
one.
by you. Yeah.
Next one. I set my lineup. Projections say I will win. I lost. Clay is trash.
I like that.
I like that
as
one.
well.
That
That's a
one's
good one.
trash.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, last one. Need 10 points to win. 57-yard touchdown. Flag on the play.
Oh,
Pain.
Ooh, that's
Mike,
called Pain.
this is you're a good
You'll call that
poet,
one Pain.
Mike.
So there you
Are
go.
we going to start calling
So
you
Pain?
like Mike Shell Silverstein? You are impressive.
Stop.
Thank you.
Good
Those are
pull
my
there.
haikus.
All right, so what?
Despair is 1.
Despair.
Trash is 2. Pain is 3. So let me know which is the best.
Okay, can I vote as well or no?
Yeah,
Okay.
sure. Or do you want to wait till
I want to wait. I want to wait. I want to see it first, and then I'll tell you.
Yeah.
That- Mike, I think that was one of the better punishments we've had so far. Good for you, my friend.
Honestly, I like doing it. That was fun.
Your girlfriend texted us last night, and she was like, "Mike is so pumped to do these haikus. He wrote 3 of them."
With good
we
reason.
had a
She
good
wrote
time
them
doing
for
it.
you, didn't she?
Actually, I had one, and then I did
She
another
probably
one.
did.
No. She was contributing at the beginning for the first one, and then I did the second one. And last night, watching the game, I was just like thinking about that. We need points.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then you need to get the touchdown, and there's a flat, like that sort of drama. We all
So that
deal
third
with,
one
so-
was inspired by Broncos Raiders.
It sure was.
It definitely was.
It was like we need fantasy points, but we're not going to get them because of this terrible.
Oh,
game.
I love it.
Anyway,
Great
that was
punishment
a
there.
good one. That was a really good one.
Alrighty.
Whoever came up with
Head on into the YouTube chat. Vote on which of you think, or vote on which of the 3 haikus you think was best for Mike Clay. We'll talk about it at the end of the
They were
show.
all pretty good, though. I'm
was
not
fun.
going to lie.
Let's dive into our Week 10 preview, Part 1. Mike, I'm going to start with you. Let's keep things rolling.
Part 2.
Sorry, did I say Part 1?
It's okay.
I meant Part 2. Week 10 preview, Part 2. Mike
Yeah, we'll
Clay
start
up
here.
first.
This is my. You guys can participate in this one. This will be my longer segment.
Okay.
We're gonna do sit or start tight end edition. Week 10.
Alrighty.
All right,
Okay,
like
I
it.
got 5 tight ends. We'll roll through them. You guys tell me if you want to sit or start these guys.
Yep.
We'll start with none other than our friend Kyle Pitts.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if this guy has made it to lineup block territory
lean
with the
yeah,
state
start.
of tight end. Two top tight ends on a bye, 7+ targets in 3 straight games. Lots of positive stats from him. Not getting the goal line work. That's kind of been a detriment, but they do play the Colts. A touchdown and 19+ fantasy points allowed to opposing tight ends in 4 straight games.
Yep.
So starter sit.
gonna start.
I would start him as well. You mentioned no Jake Ferguson, no Travis Kelce. I think he's kind of reached the tight end 12 to 14 range generally anyways. So with those 2 guys on a bye, I would start Kyle.
I
Pitts this week.
agree. I'm at 6.
Also, Darnell Mooney has not materialized in this offense like he had last
I
year.
wonder
as a
if
part of
he's
it.
just not fully healthy or what's or
must
not a
be.
good connection with Penix.
Something's going on there, but yeah.
All right, so that's the first one. Second one, guys. A guy that's newly on the fantasy radar, picked up in a lot of leagues this week, Luke Musgrave.
I like this one.
As you mentioned yesterday, actually drafted around before Tucker Kraft got that initial job, but then was quickly replaced by Kraft, who proved to be the better player. Last week, played 48% of the snaps. It's his highest since week 3 of last season. Had the 3 catches for 34 yards. But guys, he hasn't had double-digit fantasy points in a game since his rookie season, and the Eagles have dominated tight ends, including just 1 touchdown, allowed the lowest yards per target, 3rd fewest fantasy points. So Luke Musgrave, week 10, sit or start.
Okay, so not as good of a player as Tucker Kraft. On top of that, there is a vulnerability in this Packers offense that even sometimes Tucker Kraft faced, right? Where it's like, he's an amazing player and he still might get 4 targets in a game. So I lean like he's a totally serviceable fill-in for Tucker Kraft. if you had somebody else and you just played defense on the waiver wire, I'd be sitting him.
That's what I would do as well. If I had to play him, then I get it, but I would rather go another direction.
Yeah, he's a sit for me.
That's where. Can I ask really quickly, just from the draft pedigree standpoint, knowing that he was drafted before him, do you have any sense as to why the Packers liked him more? Was he a better pass catcher out of college? Was he a really good run blocker?
Athlete at Oregon State who was just the potential for him to dominate as a receiver was in play.
But Tucker Kraft
also small school. South Dakota State versus not gigantic school, but Oregon State was a Pac-10 program, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And this happens too. Baltimore's famous for this, where they took Dennis Pitta and Ed Dixon, and then it was kind of back and forth. But Pitta was the better guy. I think he was the second tight end picked, and then Mark Andrews and Hayden Hurst, same thing. Hurst was round 1, Andrews later. Andrews was the better one, so sometimes it works out there.
Hayden Hurst was taken before Lamar Jackson as well.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, so that's Musgrave again.
Yes.
Yeah. I would say Musgrave's a fine speculative ad, but on benches this week for sure. Next one for me, guys. You talked about him yesterday. Dalton Kincaid.
Yeah.
Just 44% of the snaps. He's yet to clear 6 targets in a game, but still 8th in fantasy points due to the 4 touchdowns and 12.5 yards per target. He's been boom bust, but you're just really relying on the touchdowns. They play the Dolphins, though, and Kincaid in week 3, 5 for 66 and a touchdown. So sit or start, Dalton Kincaid.
He would be a start for me, but it doesn't mean I feel good about it.
He would be whatever I have been doing with him up to this point.
That's so I was thinking this. Yeah. If you're even considering starting Dalton Kincaid, then you've probably been in the same situation for a number of weeks in a row. I would keep rolling with what I have been doing. Also, it's not like the Bills are a bad offense, right? At
They're
least
a good offense. Yeah.
No doubt about it. Okay. I have him at 10th, so I would agree that you're actually probably
fringe
9th
starter
after Bowers is out, but fringe starter. Okay. I'll say start, though. Next up, this guy might not play, so we'll keep an eye on this one, but I'll mention him just in case he's active. Harold Fannin Jr. Last week, 6 catches, 62 yards, and a touchdown. A career-high 18.4 fantasy points. And remember, that was with David Njoku back for that game. It was the week before that he was out. He was back. However, now you have a fully healthy David Njoku, and you have Cedric Tillman coming back from IR, and he'll have some sort of involvement in this passing game. Solid target share for Harold Fannin at 18.6%. So sit or start Harold Fannin, assuming he goes.
I think the decision will be made for you. He was added to the injury report yesterday with the hamstring. He didn't practice at all, which suggests something happened on Wednesday. So if he plays, I lean towards start, but I'm not. I think he will make the decision for us.
I agree. If he plays, it would be difficult to bench him with how he's been playing, but I don't feel good about it.
Good number of targets from each week.
Yeah, he's a borderline for sure. I would probably I don't really want to start guys in this offense is the problem.
Of course.
That's the thing. I don't really trust anyone. But anyway, he's borderline.
Where do you have him ranked?
11.
11? Okay.
Before last night. 10 now without Bowers in there. Okay. Last one, guys.
You had him ranked ahead of Brock Bowers this week?
No, I said he moved up one with Bowers out of the rankings.
Okay.
I mean, yes, I did.
Thank you. There you go. Yes.
Yes. Don't start.
Smart, Mike.
He's Brock Bowers is my sit of the week, by the way.
That's smart.
I had that too.
Later.
On the group text, I had that.
Yes, I'm sure.
Yep, no doubt. Last one, guys, is speaking of Dalton Kincaid, Mark Andrews. 2 touchdowns last week with Lamar back in the fold. At 16.6 fantasy points, just 3 targets, though, in the game. Now, 3 or 4 targets in 5 of 8 games this season. He's averaging 4.1 targets per game. 4.1, under 35 receiving yards in all but 1 game this year. But they play Minnesota.
That's right, baby.
And they have allowed 18-plus fantasy points to Arondé Gatson and Sam Laporta over the last 2 weeks. So are we buying on Mark Andrews? Sit or start?
I am buying. Not only do that over the last 2 weeks, but the game they had before that, it was the Dallas Goedert game. He didn't do well, but the wide receivers smashed in that game. Yeah. And then really quickly, the game before that, both Harold Fannin and David Njoku found the end zone. So tight ends have been feasting against the Vikings because of that. Mark Andrews is a start for me this week.
You have persuaded me. I'm going to start as well.
Okay. I'm actually at 13, so I'm going to lean towards sit.
Wow.
That's kind of high for a guy that's seen 4 targets a game, to be honest with you. So generally, he's a little lower. So I would lean towards sit, but he's close.
It's close.
You can stream him.
I like the matchup.
Yep.
All right.
That's my first topic.
Tight end start or sit edition in the books. Field Yates, what's your first takeaway?
All right, so for the second straight day, the Patriots were without running back Ramondre Stevenson at practice. He did not practice at all last week and ended up sitting, obviously, in week 9. Mm-hmm. Keep this in mind, and I don't know that this is in play, but it's certainly something that I think it will be logical to expect could be in play. Patriots play next Thursday night against the New York Jets, so load management could be on the mind of the Patriots as it pertains to this Ramondre Stevenson toe injury. If he's out, what is the value in Treveyon Henderson? I would argue the value is somewhere around the top 16 to 20 running back. In Week 9, Henderson's first start, he played 75% of the snaps. He handled 14 carries. That was a team high. He had 55 rushing yards. That was also a team high, even if not a gigantic, just under 4 yards a carry for Henderson there. Importantly, he had 6 targets as well. 4 catches for 32 yards. And while against the Buccaneers, it's very difficult to run the football right up the gut because of a man named Vita Vea, they have struggled against running backs this season. 7th most fantasy points, especially in the passing game.
Most
Thank you.
receiving yards to running backs.
Yep. So I think Henderson, if I lean towards Stevenson be out, he has been removed from Mike's projections, and Mike always has a very good grip on this stuff. So I think Henderson, even if he's not the player that we hoped he would be coming into the season, you might get a pocket of 2, maybe 3, but probably 2 games of him being somewhere in that RB2 range.
Yeah. It's tough to trust him based on what we've seen, how the coaching staff has used him. You just worry that he's going to they're just going to come out and not use him that much. Like Terrell Jennings is the leader. Like you don't know for sure. That makes me a little nervous about him. I have him at 21. I think he's right on that fringe of the top 20 because guys like Ken Walker, who suddenly is the lead back again in Seattle, Montgomery, Etienne, Breece Hall, Swift, those are guys just ahead, just inside the top 20.
I think he's in that territory.
I think he's just behind that group. So fringe top 20.
I see the same thing, Mike. I would have him just outside the top 20, but think he's worth starting this week as well. My big question, speaking of the Patriots, let's talk about Stefon Diggs.
Let's do it, yeah.
10 or more fantasy points in 5 of 6 games, back-to-back weeks with a touchdown. Since week 4, he's averaging 14 points per game. So that's pretty good. Really nice floor for a guy, right? And I want to talk about how sick this matchup with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers is. I want to give a quick shout out to Joe Fortenbaugh. I was talking with him a couple weeks ago about how I wanted to do an Amon-Ra St. Brown ladder bet against this team.
Okay.
And he said, you know what? Wide receiver ones against Tampa have done really well this year. I'm going to read off the matchups they've had so far this year. Week 1, Drake London, 13.5 fantasy points. Week 2, Nico Collins, 14.2. Both of those are pretty good.
Okay.
Garrett Wilson in week 3, 24.4.
Now we're talking.
Yep.
A.J. Brown in week 4. Do you remember that game, Mike?
Against the Bucks. Was that one of his good ones?
2.7 fantasy
Okay,
points.
so that wasn't good. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Then here's where it starts. Week 5, JSN, 27.2. Week 6, Kendrick Bourne, who was the wide receiver one of the 49ers at that time, had 19.2 fantasy points. Week 7, Amon-Ra had 20.6 fantasy points, and Chris Olave had 14 in week 8. So opposing wide receivers are averaging 17 fantasy points per game against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They'd be averaging 19 fantasy points per game if you took out that scrub A.J. Brown. And so when you look at this, Diggs is a wide receiver one, right? Sort of. That's kind of. Then I want to ask you this question, Field. Like he is the Patriots wide receiver one. But when you only play 50 to 60% of the snaps, in spite of how good the matchup is, how high is too high for a guy like Stefon Diggs? He's a must start to me this week because of the matchup and the way that they utilize him. But I just wonder, how high do you think is too high? What do you have, Matt? 15?
I think much higher than 19 or 20.
19 or 20?
Too high for me.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm at 20.
20?
3 catches exactly in 3 of his last 4 games. I still think he's a hard player to size up. He's extremely talented. His quarterback is absolutely nails. The Patriots could score 4 touchdowns in any game, basically. Remember, they played against the Browns, a very good defense, put up 32 against them. I think this team is more real than not, for sure. But if he's playing 61% of the snaps, Mike has made a fair
That'd be
comparison.
his second highest snap percentage of the season, 61%.
Keenan Allen is kind of a good analog right now for Stefon Diggs. A big game is definitely possible. 4 for 44 is also in the cards.
Yeah. Kayshon Boutte, unlikely to go. So
Correct.
we could see Stefon Diggs more on the boundary this week because Pop Douglas presumably will play more than 14 snaps because I know he's coming off a big game, but barely played last week. So he would be in the slot, Diggs more outside. But you're right. They could put Kyle Williams outside and leave Diggs inside. So we'll see.
Every wide receiver one except for AJ has hit 13.5 fantasy points against this team. Do you think Stefon Diggs gets to 13.5 fantasy points?
Well, I mean, I have him projected for 14, rounded to 14. So right in that.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right.
That would put him 20th.
Sounds good. Field Yates, you're up next.
Let's stay in that game. And is Bucky Irving going to return? It really does not sound like he's going to return. Bucky Irving has missed yet another practice here. Not going to speculate, just going to leave it be. He will return whenever he returns. Until that time, it's the Rachaad White show. Worth noting, by the way, Chris Godwin also did not participate in practice yesterday. Jeremy Fowler was talking about Godwin yesterday on the airwaves. It could be a little time before we see Chris Godwin, perhaps a little bit of a lost season for him, or maybe a first 75% of the season lost. But the Patriots, let's talk about Rachaad White then, how high he would rank this week, because the Patriots have allowed the fourth fewest fantasy points to opposing running backs this season. That is largely on the strength of their elite, perhaps best in the NFL run defense. I think they actually have moved up to number one in the NFL in fewest rushing yards per game allowed, not just factoring in running backs, but they are the only team in the entire league that has not yet allowed a running back to reach 50 yards in a game as a runner. They had allowed Josh Allen to get past that threshold, but it's something like 72 years that hasn't happened. So this is a run defense that is balling the heck out. Rachaad White's an interesting one, though. The receiving value definitely helps.
Yeah.
But he has 13 catches total over his last 4 games, so just over 3. Not a terrible number, but we're not talking about Christian McCaffrey or Bijan where it's just so good that you could get nothing as a runner and still be fine.
Still be good, yeah.
And under 4 yards per carry in each of those 4 games. He has not scored a touchdown in 2 straight games. I think he probably needs a touchdown to cash in as a strong RB2.
I hear you, but the volume is just so good in that offense. And I think they'll come out of the bye and get back on track to some extent. I know they're still missing Godwin and Mike Evans, but Baker is a legitimately good player.
Yeah,
and
he's
they have
an awesome player
now, and they could use Cade Otton. So Sterling Shepard's fine as like a serviceable depth guy. Tej Johnson,
baby. Yep.
I think they're going to be fine. So, and Rachaad White's a good player. So, and who scores a lot of touchdowns. So, I have him at 11, which is a front end RB2. To your point,
a little lower than you.
Yeah, which is fine. I mean, again, he's right in that conversation with Kyron and Warren Judkins sort of conversation. But the volume has been so nice for him the last few weeks without Irving. So I feel fine starting him.
You're looking very intently.
I was just like trying to go through his game log to just kind of see what's been going on, how's he looked since. I mean, he's had 2 good games with no Rachaad White, 2 games. But even his games,
Bucky Irving,
with Bucky Irving, they're not like 1.3 fantasy points. If I'm getting 9 fantasy points and like that's my dud, I'll take 9 as a dud from my running back. So. But obviously, we like the idea of Rachaad White. I was obviously doing the practice reports. I have no idea. I was trying to do so much research into being like, can I find anything about Bucky Irving? Still no idea.
I would say in these cases, silence speaks volumes, right?
Yes.
I wouldn't expect Bucky Irving to play this week.
I'm going to talk about a couple more running backs here. Okay. 2 good running backs on 2 bad teams.
Okay.
Quinshon Judkins versus Breece Hall. I'd like to think about Jets-Browns more as Breece Hall versus Quinshon Judkins because I don't think the game is going to be very good, to be honest. Quinshon Judkins has at least 100 rushing yards or a touchdown in 4 of his last 6 games, which is nice. You love to be able to see that. However, the other 2 games were really bad, under 40 rushing yards. And when he doesn't either get in the end zone or have a lot of rushing yards, he has duds. Under 5 fantasy points in both those games. Why? Because he doesn't catch the football. Or if he does, it's very limited within that situation. So he has.
I like him this week.
I like him this week too. Yep. I like him this week too. Over 80% of his fantasy points has come from as a runner. That's the 5th highest percentage in the NFL. Just highlighting the idea that he does not catch passes a lot. But the Jets defense has not been super scary for opposing running backs. Plus, you have no Quinn Williams.
Yeah.
Plus, there's no Sauce Gardner. It feels like this defense got even worse than it was the week before. So while he doesn't catch passes and while we have talked about we want him to be able to find the end zone, I still really like Quinshon Judkins. He checks in as a mid-tier RB2 for me. You guys see it similarly?
Same way, yeah. I like him a lot in this game. It should be a low-scoring game. I think the total actually bumped up from 36.5 to 37.5 over at ESPN Bet following the 2 defensive trades. But still a very low total either way. I do not anticipate the Browns playing from behind. Game script should work well here for Quinshon Judkins.
Yep.
I think it's perhaps a touch too optimistic to believe that the Jets traded away the single best run defender in the entire NFL in Quinn Williams, but definitely an impactful run defender in Quinn Williams. Of note, his brother Quincy, who was an all-pro just a couple of years ago, got benched too. So tough week for the Williams as it pertains to the Jets. But I like Quinshon Judkins more than I like Breece Hall in this matchup.
Yeah. I agree because Breece Hall has a much more difficult matchup, Mike Clay, against the Cleveland Browns. Breece has 4 games over 110 yards this year and 2 or more catches in every game but 1. So he's getting nice passing game work. You'd love to be able to see that. But the Browns are allowing the 2nd fewest fantasy points per game to the running back position.
It's tough.
Terrific.
Yep. They're really good. By the way,
both are mid-tier RB2s, though, in spite of the matchups. That's sort of where I have them.
This feels like such a great game that will matter more once we get to like January 6th when the season is over. We're going to look back and be like,
pick.
hey, the Browns have the 3rd pick and the Jets have the 5th. Why? Because the Jets beat the Browns, or vice versa.
Yep.
I think I'd probably pick Cleveland in this game.
I would too.
But yeah.
By the way, speaking of, I was thinking about this when you were talking about the line moving 1.5 points from those two of the better defenders in the NFL. Kind of shows you a little bit of the thinking, I think, for the Jets, which is that, like, 2 superstar players are paying a lot of money, move the needle about 1.5 points. Yeah. Whereas if your star quarterback, like think about Lamar Jackson is out for Baltimore.
8.5 points, right?
Yeah. I mean, that shows you the actual value of a good quarterback. And that's what the Jets need more than anything. Like, you hit on a quarterback, those guys, you're not going to miss them guys at all. I mean, they're great to have, but quarterback.
Yes.
I mean, right. Just when other guys are injured, the line barely moves.
Yep.
Like quarterback is
such a huge thing. Yeah. Well, I don't like either one of those teams, but both of those running backs are I like them as mid-tier RB2s.
I think Mike has stuff, but can I just go to my last topic?
Yeah, please.
Because it is once again in that game.
Oh, no way.
Garrett Wilson. Matchup and his presumed return. Garrett Wilson has been back on the practice field this week. Remember, he missed 2 games prior to their bye because of a knee injury. The Browns, though, have done a good job against legitimate wide receivers so far this season. The numbers, I think, are just sort of okay when you look at the Browns versus wide receivers, but some notable performances by wide receivers against the Browns this year.
Let's hear it.
Jamar Chase all the way back in week 1, 2 for 26. That's bad.
Yep.
That was with Joe Burrow, by the way.
Yes.
Zay Flowers in week 2, not bad. 14.9 fantasy points, 7 catches, 75 yards, plus a 4-yard rush. Matthew Golden led all Packers wide receivers with 10.1
that was his
back
breakout
in week
game,
3.
right? He's probably been skyrocketing since that one.
Jalen Waddle, as we know, has been really good.
He has lately.
Tyreek Hill got hurt, except for against the Browns. He had 1 catch for 15 yards. The weather sucked that day. That being said, 1 for 15 is not going to cut it. Stefon Diggs, who we were just talking about, he ended up with 10.4 fantasy points on the strength of 3 catches for 14 yards and 1 touchdown in week 8. So the Browns were off this past weekend. It has been pretty tough for opposing wide receivers against the Browns this season. I think Garrett Wilson is still a top 20 wide receiver. We discussed him as a guy who could potentially see his value dip a little bit compared to where it was, especially early on in the year.
Yeah.
I agree.
Doesn't feel great. It seems like we're going to get Justin Fields under center again. Remember when they had a quarterback controversy and then that just sort of like disappeared into the ether?
They might next week.
Yeah.
If the Browns shut him down and he
might start him this week. Meaning Tyrod Taylor could start this week.
Yeah, we don't know that for sure.
I have no idea.
I would be surprised at this point. I feel like we would have heard something there, but you're right. We could find out today.
I would.
Tyrod's starting. Yeah.
Do you think that we're going to have any Cleveland Browns quarterback rumblings as we get through the second half of the season?
Absolutely. I think it's going to start this week. I think there's a chance that Shedeur Sanders is active. Remember, he was inactive recently because of a back injury. Wouldn't stun me if we see him on the field a little bit, but
The one thing I'm grateful for about that situation is that at least it's an offense for us in fantasy that we're already not really relying on pass catchers, so we don't have to play like the rookie quarterback roulette thing.
That
exactly.
Shedeur's in there. He's going to take away the value of Jerry Jeudy. It's like no,
nope.
I want to see it. And if you're the Browns, you have to find out. Why else did you take him as a speculative pick? Find out if you need to draft a quarterback in the top 5 next year.
Has been booming. I mean, it was a great business move. There's no telling.
Yeah, I guess so. But like, you need to also run a businesses and run your football team. So you need to find out if you need to draft a quarterback with some top 5 pick next year.
My sense was always that the owner felt like this was a really savvy business. I don't know that for a fact. I just think it seems logical. Like, what team was discussed more in the preseason than the Browns? Maybe the Chiefs, right? The Cowboys.
Yep. Well, nonetheless, you got to take a look at them.
You must take a look. I agree on that.
Probably soon. Yeah.
All right, Mike.
All right. I have a couple more. You guys are done, right?
I got one more.
I got one more. All right, we'll go back and forth. All right.
Do I get to leave?
Seahawks running back. What's that?
Do I get to leave now or no?
Yeah, you can go. Okay. Seahawks running backs. Again, they had the bye 2 weeks ago. They come back last week, and finally, we got the switchback. It was Zach Charbonnet. He outsnapped Walker in 5 of their 6 games together to open the season. They come out of the bye, and it's back to Ken Walker. Now, it's not 75% Ken Walker, but he had an edge. 53% of the snaps. That was highest of the season. 54%, excuse me. 11 carries and 2 targets. Zach Charbonnet, 18 snaps, 8 carries, and 1 target in the game. Now, Walker was still held below 10 fantasy points for the 4th game in a row. Hasn't scored since week 3. Charbonnet, meanwhile, has 5 touchdowns in 7 games.
Wow.
So he must be doing well. Nope. He's averaging 2.9 yards per carry and has cleared 12.4 points one time this season. These guys already faced Arizona earlier this season. Walker was good. 20 touches, 110 yards, 12 fantasy points. didn't score, though. Zach Charbonnet did. That's been the story of the season.
Dude.
He had just 44 yards and a touchdown at 12.4 points. So combined, they had 24.4 against Arizona, which is fine. So if you assume Walker's the top guy here now, or at least the 1A, it gives him an edge, and I feel like that's enough to put him on that RB2 radar. So I would consider starting Walker against Arizona.
Agreed.
Charbonnet, no. He's on the bench.
Low-end RB2 or high-end flex consideration. This Seattle Seahawks backfield just needs to become like a transformer. If we could just put these two running backs together, we'd be so satisfied with the running back for the Seattle Seahawks team.
AKA feature one of them.
Yeah, or do that.
Or just pick one.
That's it.
Like, even if it's not Walker, just get rid of him then and just use Charbonnet.
No,
that's what
don't do that.
Well, no, I would prefer it to be Walker, of course, but I'm just saying at least feature one so we could start someone.
I got Zach Charbonnet in my dynasty squad, so I'm fine if Ken Walker leaves Seattle for what it's worth.
Well,
so
no,
you can make Chardonnay puns at least. But besides that, there's not much.
No, I like Ken Walker. He's a good player. And
He's a good player.
His trend
Good player.
continues upward.
Good player that's been trying to figure out where he's at this season. Seems like he's been trying to figure out his footing with the Seahawks coaching staff. Mike, why don't you give me one more? You got one more takeaway, right?
My last
why don't
one,
you do your last one, and then I'll do the practice report after
and this
that.
one will be quick because we did talk about this guy on Wednesday. DK Metcalf coming off a game where he had a season low 4 targets and 2.6 fantasy points.
Ugh.
I talked about the splits the other day. He's been shadowed in 4 games. All 4 of those were duds. I mean, 12.3 against Sauce Gardner was his best performance in those 4 games where he was shadowed. The games he wasn't shadowed, 3 of the 4, he was very good. He had 16 plus fantasy points, and the exception was the Seahawks, one of the better defenses in the NFL. But guys, he's 39th now in targets among receivers.
Wow.
He's 7th in touchdowns. So remains very dependent on low volume and hoping for that touchdown. Much like Seattle, a tough matchup. They play the Chargers 4 touchdowns and the 6th fewest fantasy points to receivers this season. I have Metcalf at 23. So he's a good wide receiver 3. You can start him, but it's been boom bust, and it's going to continue.
I saw a quote from Aaron Rodgers, and I apologize because I don't know if it was asked through the prism of, do you need to feed DK Metcalf the football more? But his response about like where the ball goes was something to the effect of, you got to go back and watch the tape. It depends on who was open. It depends on the progression, things like that, right? And you're like,
this sounds familiar. Sounds like Kyler and Marvin
I was
Harrison.
just going to say that.
That's not, and by the way,
It's not my job to get him the football.
I would agree with, I was going to say something along those lines, which isn't like watching the tape from his perspective, but just watching the games, you're like, it's very rare that you identify Metcalf where he is on the field, and then you watch Rodgers and you're like, he's not the top read like ever. I mean, it's very rare that he's like, okay, looking to get it. Nope, he's not there. That doesn't happen. It's just like, we got to get Washington or Connor
feels like
Hayward
Darnell
or
Washington is often the
Freiermuth or anyway.
Calvin
it doesn't
Austin.
seem like it's like they have 5 plays set up for Metcalf a game and that's it.
Yeah,
it's
got
like
good
he gets his
rapport with
plays
Ben
and-
Skoranek.
This is what I don't understand. Why do they want... It was an NFL conversation. Just give me 2 seconds. But why do they want Aaron Rodgers to return in 2026 when they paid a guy $150 million and he doesn't even throw the football to the wide receiver they gave all this money to? What am I missing as a part of that?
They're 5-3, so they're like, we would
They're
love to have
such
him
a
back.
fake 5-3.
Dude, they just beat the Colts, so like I think they're probably saying to themselves, like, yeah, people call us fake, but we're in first place in our division by a couple of games. Maybe we aren't that fake.
And everyone
right,
calls
we'll find
everyone
out.
fake. The Eagles were
You're right.
frauds. The Bucks now are frauds. Everyone's a fraud. The Chiefs were frauds last year. They went to
they
the
were.
Super Bowl.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
everyone's.
What happened
everyone,
then?
Yeah, you have one like bad quarter and you're a fraud team.
Fraud.
You know, it's just like
Yeah.
nonsense.
Mike
The
Clay's
Colts
a
lost last
fraud.
week. They're frauds.
They're
you
frauds
know,
now.
it's-
That's true. That's true.
It's the nature of the league.
All right, I'm going to dive into the Week 10 injury report. I'll keep it as quickly as possible. A couple of full participants that I want to be able to give you guys. Coming into a bye week last week, we knew that Saquon Barkley was banged up, wondered how he was going to progress. Everything seems fine. We're planning on him rolling this week. Also, there was no DeAndre Swift last week. You saw a lot of Kyle Monangai. DeAndre Swift has been full participant on Thursday. Thinks like we're going to get him back. I want to ask you guys, though.
Yeah.
We saw over 175 rushing yards from Kyle Monangai as the lead back of that Bears field.
Yeah.
If DeAndre Swift plays this week and Kyle Monangai is on the field at the same time, do you think that there is enough juice for Monangai to be startable in fantasy as a flex, or would you want to go another direction?
No,
He'd be low
Not yet.
He bengled it last week.
Okay.
I have more optimism on like the caliber of runner that he is.
No,
Than Mike
I
does.
agree with that, but I mean,
But the
it's
matchup
not like he
was
magically
a
got better last week, and
Yeah.
he was useless in fantasy all but 2 weeks so far. And one of them was a game where Swift also had a huge game, and they just were able to run the whole game. And then last week with Swift out against the Bengals, which everyone has done great. So I don't think he's there yet, and I don't think this is a committee situation. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they decide, hey, we have 2 good backs now. We're just going to split it up. And
very instructive week ahead because we'll learn something about this backfield for the rest of the season. Quick check on the weather for Chicago. I told you guys about earlier in the week how there might be a
little bit of
snow. All right, so it's down to if there's going to be snow, it's going to be very light and it's going to be very early, overnight into Sunday. Once the game begins, it is going to just be windy, which is what happens because it's Chicago.
And by the way, it is a great matchup against the Giants, so maybe there is a chance that you have a big Swift and a big Monangai game. So I have Monangai at 25, so I'm not saying auto bench. This is a guy that in 12-team league maybe he's a flex option.
Yep.
But I guess my point is I don't expect him to be the lead back or do anything close to last week. But Swift's still the guy.
Pumping expectations on Kyle Monangai if you got a big game.
By the way, can I add one more running back really quick? You mentioned those 2 guys.
Sure.
Also, Quinshon Judkins. Remember, he got hurt before when we last saw him, and we thought Jerome Ford and Dylan Sampson might be their running backs this week, but it looks like he's fine.
Looks like he's good to go.
So he is full. He's actually not even on the injury report.
No.
Last Bears thing, Cole Kmet practiced in full yesterday.
He did.
Mm-hmm.
So that
he's back.
is something about obviously the value of Colson Loveland is perhaps tied to Cole Kmet.
I think so.
There's also a chance they unleash him, right? He's the 10th overall pick in the draft. The guy clearly is a baller.
Yep.
But it's hard to imagine the ceiling is as high with Cole.
Yeah, I'm not there yet. I'm not. We talked about that yesterday. I think I'm not as optimistic yet that something really changed there. I think Komet's not just going to disappear, but I've been wrong before, so we'll see.
No, you haven't.
Well,
like twice.
Yeah, only when talking about Packers.
Yes.
Let's talk about a couple wide receivers here real quick. Fields, you already mentioned it. Chris Godwin, very likely not going to go this week. I'm expecting him to miss. Didn't practice Wednesday and Thursday. Emeka Ibuka, wide receiver 9 for us this week. And if you needed to throw a dart, the other dart that we would throw would be on Tez Johnson. I'd rather not throw that dart if I could help it, though. Terry McLaurin, not likely going to go in this one, thinking we're not going to have him. Did not practice Wednesday or Thursday. I'm expecting him to miss. Debo is going to be wide receiver 14. And I don't have anyone else in that wide receiving core that I would want to start against the Lions.
You do not, but we should note, big news this morning for the Commanders.
For the quarterback position.
How about this?
Yeah, so Jaden Daniels is not going to go on injured reserve. According to Adam Schefter, it sounds like basically what looked like a gnarly, maybe even season-ending injury on the field Sunday night could have him back in the fold by week 13 or 14.
Need it.
So the Commanders have a week 12 bye, I believe it is.
It is week 12, so that would be out week 10, out week 11, then you have your week 12 bye, and then potentially back 13 or 14. But the thing is, to your point, if you put him on IR, he can't come back till week 15. Right. So they expect him to have a shot to come back before
at
that.
13 or 14.
So you might get him back for the fantasy playoffs. He's been dropped in a lot of leagues.
Yes, he was.
So feel free to scoop him up and throw him on IR.
All right. Another wide receiver here, Brian Thomas, did not practice on Wednesday or Thursday dealing with an ankle sprain. I really need to see Friday. I have not gotten the sense that he's just definitively going to miss, but I get the sense that he needs to be on the field on Friday. So today is a big day. We'll monitor that. Obviously, no Travis Hunter. And if you look at this, I mean, Jacoby Myers?
Parker Washington's going to play a lot for them, and he has been really solid over the past couple of games. Very tough matchup on Sunday. I mean, just about as difficult as it gets with the Texans, right?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I left Thomas in the projections yesterday just because there was the comment that he may play from the coach early in the week, so I didn't. Often if a guy doesn't practice like this, gets hurt, I'll pull him out. I left him until today. We'll make a call later.
Today, I will. Yes, if he does not practice today, I am making plans to move ahead without Brian
I think
Thomas.
there's a good chance he gets ruled out today, but we'll see.
Oh, if he doesn't practice today, I think we know what the rating is on that one.
Garrett Wilson was limited on Thursday, has not played since week 6. You already talked about it, but it feels like we're in a good direction with him. He looks like he's going to go. Ramondre Stevenson, you already talked about him. We talked about Treveyon Henderson there as well, and a couple other running backs that were upgraded this week. James Cook didn't practice Wednesday, but was limited Thursday. Love that. And Rico Dowdle, same thing. Rico Dowdle got banged up. You saw him limping around that last game that he played.
It was his back from carrying fantasy.
That's exactly what it was. But I think that things seem to be fine there. He was limited on Thursday. We'll continue to monitor. And then last one was the tight end position, which Mike already mentioned earlier in the show, in Harold Fannin. So something to watch there if you have been riding that Harold Fannin train. Maybe just make sure you have another tight end just in case. And if David Njoku was on waivers, go grab him. That's going to be the Week 10 injury report.
Yeah.
All right.
By the way, guys, I had my phone started ringing. It just said probable spam, right? So I just hit the button, and the voicemail came through. You know, now on the iPhone, it'll just put the text.
Yeah.
And the text just said goodbye. So, I mean, it's been nice knowing you guys.
Wow. What a run you had.
I don't know who that was.
Sorry, man.
ESPN? 10 years at ESPN?
Yeah, I don't know where that came from.
That's too bad.
A little concerning. I don't know what the goodbye means, but
no big deal.
It's been fun.
It's been nice knowing you, Mike.
Yeah. That's great.
We're going to do our starts of the week in a minute, and I feel very strongly that we will have crossover in at least 2 of our 4 players.
I'm worried that I need to pick a new player after some people were ruled out because the player that I chose was much farther on the list. So we'll talk about it as we get into it.
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about, and that guy I still had outside my top 20 when I updated, so I left him in. But we'll
all right. Well, Mike, here's the deal. For the punishment, I'm going to ask you to put your helmet on right now for the people at home.
Hey!
Everyone wants to see
more
it.
punishment.
Yep.
This guy
Shout
stinks.
out.
Last time week.
Shout out to 50 States in 50 Days.
That was an awesome,
awesome
thing we did.
That helmet looks huge.
Like, it does look gigantic. That's Aaron Rodgers' astronaut helmet.
Yeah. This is big.
Honestly, there's a little bit of...
That's my head.
You've got a little bit of that Aaron Rodgers look because you got the salt and pepper beard there with it as well, and then the real big head.
You guys are both 35 years old.
All right. It looks pretty good.
19. What does he say?
He's got like...
You've watched football. You're close.
20.
Yeah.
Anything but Dak Prescott. I can't take that.
Here we go.
You don't like Here We Go?
No.
You and Draymond Green.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's dive into our starts of the week here in week 10, in which Mike Clay is going to lead us off. Mike with his punishment.
So I could take this helmet off because it looks big and it feels big.
You got to read it, though, like you're barking signals. That's how this works.
All right. Jordan Love is the quarterback. Jordan Love. That's who we're going with against the Eagles this week. Bad last week, but 26+ points in 2 of his last 5.
All right.
Running back, this is the guy.
Okay.
Treveyon Henderson. Treveyon gets the Buccaneers. We talked about him earlier, coming off the 87-yard game last week, so we're going Treveyon.
Like it.
Next up, DJ Moore.
There you go. That's it.
These are audible calls, okay? We're going DJ Moore against the Giants. Good matchup here coming off. Actually, back-to-back good games.
Yeah. Yes.
Now gets the Giants, so DJ Moore.
Yeah.
Kate Otten.
That was a good one. Really that was a good one, Mike. That was good.
Sounds like an audible.
Yeah.
Last 3 games, 6.7 targets per game, 4+ catches in all 3. So Kate Otten at tight end.
My favorite part that the people couldn't see, we're in a 3-box, right? So we have a real tight shot. My favorite part is that you motioned Kate Otten to come in motion while you were doing it. I loved it.
So good. Right
that was really good. Hey, that's not bad, Mike Clay. Way to go.
No crossover yet.
Never getting. That's my last punishment of the year, guys.
I need to.
I mean, not if you lose again today.
Really quickly, I need to say this before we go forward because one of the players that I was worried about that I also have is Treveyon Henderson, who after the Ramondre Stevenson having been removed, when I did this, he was like much farther down the list. Like now,
where's he at in our consensus now?
Running back 19.
Oh, he didn't move up that far?
I picked him because when I picked it, he was far enough out. But I'm wondering if maybe just for spirit of the game, while you give your picks here, Field, I'm going to see if I can find another running back to pick.
I think all of us have to pivot. I didn't pick him, but I think let's ask chat. We'll read our picks, and then it'll give you guys a moment.
Is Henderson an acceptable
pick for when you picked him, or do we need to pick somebody
else? We have
like
basically 3 minutes to vote on this chat, okay?
Yep.
Should Treveyon Henderson be allowed to be one of your starts of the week? Okay. The clock has begun. I'll give my picks, and I'll filibuster for a minute so that Daniel can then make his picks, and we'll wait for chat's ruling. My quarterback is the best quarterback in the NFL, Jared Goff.
Yeah.
Who gets the Washington Commanders in a very tasty matchup on Sunday. I think the Lions are going to come out hot because they are pissed about losing.
I didn't think he was going to qualify. I have to check this one.
I think he was
Jared Goff?
Isn't he at quarterback 12? He was like quarterback 12.
Oh, was he? Okay. All right. I thought he was 11, and we pulled.
Let me see. Where did they end up, Daniel?
Jared Goff has ended at quarterback 10.
Oh, man.
I'll allow that. Here's the problem.
I'll allow that one.
And if you were smart, you have him as quarterback 9. If you just ranked him as quarterback 11, he would have qualified for the segment.
That's why you guys have been beating me. He's figured out the strategy. He moves his guys down. We fudged the numbers.
Game the system.
Yeah. No, that one's okay. I thought about him as well. I'm okay with Jared Goff. But I passed because I thought he would go from
I don't have a strong opinion on Treveyon Henderson, by the way, so you guys can do whatever you want. Jamison Williams is my wide receiver. I'm going for the stack here. Yeah, why not? I figure if the matchup is that good.
J-Mo.
Oh, J-Mo.
Perhaps Jamison Williams has another big day after having a big day last week. I've been down this well before. Kamani Vidal, who plays the Steelers Sunday night. He has had over 100 rushing yards in 2 of his 4 games. Saw a little more Jared Patterson, which was discouraging last week, but I do think Vidal gets back on track. And last but not least, Mike and I see it differently.
Okay.
Colston Loveland.
I love it.
Yeah, I thought you might go there.
I think it's a thing.
Did you go yet?
He has not yet.
Yeah.
I think it's a thing here with Loveland.
I think so too, Field.
I do think at some point you're just like, it's so apparent how talented the kid is, right? And they need to get some things going here. Giants a little bit banged up in the secondary.
No Paulson Adebo in this one as well. I shouldn't say no. He has back-to-back DMPs. Yes.
Yeah. By the way, Jameson ranked 30th in the consensus, but it's all right.
Wow.
I understand that I didn't lose for a month, and you guys have to cheat to beat me. But all right,
hold on. I thought he was wide receiver 32 before Thursday Night Football, and then how many top 30 wide receivers played in that game?
Tyler Lockett.
No, there was one because I looked at this.
Yeah.
It's not Troy Franklin. It wasn't any of the Raiders. It was Colt. It was
maybe somebody
Sutton.
else was pulled due to
Cortland Sutton was the only one. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe
Here's
someone
what I
got
will
hurt.
say though is that I have two players that are on the boundary of the thresholds. You have somebody inside the threshold.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah.
He was all right.
Yeah. All right, we got the results.
All right, what's the result
We got the results from Tag Board. Let's see what we have from our YouTube chat. 55% say that Mike is allowed to use Treveyon Henderson.
Wait, we got 8,000 votes in 3 minutes. That's
Isn't that
impressive.
pretty good? Yeah, not bad.
No, that's 8 million. You
8
got it
million.
wrong.
I don't listen, Mike. I'm not a math guy. Right? I'm a numbers guy.
Got to count them zeros up.
Yeah.
All right, Daniel.
Starts of the week for me at the quarterback spot.
Is that a pirate?
That wasn't it.
Starts of the week for me, my matey.
Starts of
You have
the
to pick
week.
all Raiders and Bucks now.
You know, I think actually I thought that the only thing I was good at was an old-timey prospector. I think I have an okay piratey voice for what it's worth. So
I
thank
actually
you.
know a pirate.
Yeah, you do?
I do.
Oh, no, you do. We've talked about this.
Yeah, we have. Yeah.
What?
Yes, no, Field real life knows a pirate.
Like
He
you rob
leads a
ships?
life of a pirate. Yeah.
You rob ships?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Is that you can
This
do
is
that?
real.
Okay.
Mike, this is not a joke.
Don't leave your Keyshawn booty near him, or else he will be taking it. Hey, yo.
All right, my quarterback. I always try if I can, and they're under the percent or under the QB 10 spot
Yeah,
to be able
Jared
to
Goff.
go with the real deal player of the week at the quarterback spot. So I'm going with Jacoby Brissett, trusting the
Okay.
vet
All right.
against
So
the
no
Seahawks.
crossover
Good one.
yet.
That's a good
Yep.
start of the
So
week.
that's that. At the running back spot, I also have Treveyon Henderson, as we
A
know,
little bit of crossover. Yep.
because Mike's allowed to use him. I'm allowed to use him. And then I am also going to go with the great wide receiver matchup of one Jameson Williams.
Okay, all right.
Man.
And one of us believes, two of us believe in this guy at the
knew it.
tight end spot,
Knew it.
Colston
Yes!
Loveland.
I can't wait till he goes 2 for 20.
Bringing
It's
it
gonna
back.
be great.
I got to let it ride. You know what? I had one really good game, right? One really good game with Colston Loveland, and it just brings me back to the Bahamas, hanging out with the nice man league at the crap tables. Sometimes you just got to let stuff ride. This is one of those things. I'm just going to let Colston Loveland ride. All right? So
Let Colston cook.
Jacoby Brissett, Treveyon Henderson, J-Mo, and Colston Loveland are my 4. This is going to be another good one.
Yeah.
Oh, can I really quickly? I want to shout this out. I was asking our producer Tyler about it.
Okay.
We've been doing this now for 9 weeks.
Okay.
Starts of the week.
Yep.
Field has the most wins with 4 wins so far this year.
Mm-hmm.
He also has the fewest points scored.
What?
Oh, no,
that's
sorry.
amazing.
Second fewest points
well,
scored.
only 3
Second
of
fewest
us.
points
Not
scored.
fewest.
No.
It's fewest.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was looking at the screen here. It might be backwards here on the screen then. So Field has the fewest points scored.
Yeah, it's 4. Yeah, it is backward. Yates 459, Clay 467.
So,
Dopp,
Mike,
504.
You're scoring like
You're in the
0.8
middle.
points per game more than me.
Yeah, well, maybe you should do better.
And I have the fewest wins and more points than both of you. Like, I don't understand how this works out.
This is fantasy
dude,
football.
this
in a
is
nutshell.
fantasy football.
Yeah.
The Broncos are 8-2, and I watched them play last night, and they keep beating bad teams by like 3 points.
Unbelievable. Well, I need to get some wins because even though I have more points than you guys, I want some dubs because that's what it's all about at the end of the game.
We play victory points now for the
We
rest of the
need
Yeah,
to.
yeah.
We
By the
need
way,
to.
can I ask you a random question? We have a little time here.
Yeah.
I think are you worried at all about the Patriots? Same kind of thing? Beating up on bad teams all season? Like, are they going to...
Meaning, like, will the clock strike midnight for them?
Like, are they just
So,
going to
two
be like,
things.
oh, this is an okay team, but they're not...
I think they're a solid team. I think the difference between them and the Broncos is that the Patriots have been handling business against bad teams for the most part, right? Like
Fair. But,
32-13 against the Browns. They just they clobbered the Titans. It was kind of a slow start. They beat up on, I don't know, a handful of teams. They had a tight one last week against Atlanta. Atlanta feels like the rare 3-5 team that's actually better than 3-5. But I think this team is building some confidence. I'm not sure that Denver's like growing more confident by the week on offense.
No. And look, I hope they're the real deal because they were my favorite sleeper team this year. The Patriots, I like the Colts and the Cardinals. That's the team that I wanted to.
For the
we talked
record.
about the Colts in here. Remember, I was like, that is a top 5 team. It's just quarterback is the question. If that quarterback's solid, they're going to be fine.
But I tell you what,
So I want all 3 to keep it going.
this is a really good litmus test game for the Patriots on Sunday.
Big time.
Like if they win on the road, Tampa coming off of a bye, even with their injuries, it's like, oh baby,
Yep.
because they've already beat Buffalo once. They do have a soft schedule. The rest, and they don't determine the schedule, so yeah, they could be the real deal here.
Yeah, I like it.
That's the second time you've used the term real deal, and I feel like there's a trademark on it. Yeah.
They could get 15 wins.
It's all good.
That's right. 15% off their wins.
Technically, they could.
I love that.
It would be unlikely, but they could get to 15.
All right, let's. One thing I just really quickly want to say on starts of the week.
Yeah.
I've scored more than 35 more points at the tight end position than you guys.
Well, so you know tight ends and we don't.
Feels like I know tight ends real well.
What am I
think that's what it is.
I'm good at running back.
Colston Loveland, Juwan Johnson decision this weekend, and it sounds like Mike would go with Juwan Johnson.
I have Johnson in. Yeah, it's
Over
close.
Colston Loveland?
Yeah, I mean, guys, he's had one good game.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah, didn't you
because
see it?
Cole Kmet didn't play.
Good.
Yeah, let's see. I have Johnson at 18. Yeah, I have Loveland 24. Yeah.
You have Colston Loveland at tight end 24?
Did you forget? We talked about this yesterday.
Unbelievable. All right, let's dive into the mailbag. I can't even talk to you anymore.
Oh, yeah, his 7 fantasy points per game, lower than A.J. Barner, Juwan Johnson, David Njoku, Dalton Schultz.
I'm just doing a quick check for any late news that we haven't yet.
By the way, I hope I'm wrong. I thought Loveland was a great late flyer this year in drafts, but he's a very young player, and he's just not playing a lot yet. So.
For what it's worth, I also hope you're wrong, because that would mean another start of the week loss, and maybe we get another haiku. Maybe we get something else this week. We'll do something fun with it. All right, let's dive into our first mailbag question from our chat.
We need our results, too.
Yeah, you're right. We do.
Results.
We do. Yeah. All right, first question that we have from chat comes from Jacob Worth. As a first-place team, would you take on the risk of Bucky Irving? I can get him for Zay Flowers and Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt right now.
I'm going no, Jacob. I got some concerns there.
Just because of the lack of news, because we don't know anything?
Yeah, I would exactly right, but it's too bad because if it's like he's going to practice next week and be a go, I'd probably take it. I mean, Flowers is a solid wide receiver too, but Irving could be a league winner.
You know, the thing about
JCM, let me rephrase my answer.
I don't.
Like, if you're first and Zay Flowers doesn't really play for you,
then it's a yes.
Yeah. Agreed.
That's a fair point.
Do it. Now, if he's your second wide receiver right now and it's going to leave you with a fairly decent sized hole, I'd be concerned.
Yeah, I think about it from this perspective, which is, you want to win the championship. Who helps you win the championship more? If you feel like if you just keep coasting with Zay Flowers as part of your team, like
AJ Brown,
is that enough to get you over the top?
Yeah.
But if Bucky Irving could be like, man, that's a league winning.
No, he
player.
could.
I agree.
Then you do it. Yeah.
If that happens, you make this trade now. Let's say he makes the trade this weekend, or they make the trade this weekend. You throw Bucky Irving into IR. You now have 2 open roster spots. You're going to have to head to waivers to be able to fill. I don't know what your waivers look like, but if you have a generous waiver wire as well, you're immediately going to have 2 open spots.
I like having
if
those
you make
spots,
that trade.
That's
Me
where
too.
I'm like, I'm going to pick up Blake Corum. Or
if you liked him so much, you'd have brought up the point.
Well, like a month ago or so, I picked up. I was like,
Monangai?
I'm going to pick up. Well, Monangai was one, yeah, but Rico Dowdle was just a random pickup in some leagues, and now he's an RB1. I mean, those kind of moves can win you leagues.
The other thing that I will say is we've gotten to the point now where close to half the league has had its bye already, which means you can play the defense game a little bit here too, right?
Yeah.
It's just besides the Broncos, there haven't been too many defenses that you're like, you are starting them absolutely unequivocally no matter what. So like I've got right now, like I'm playing that game with like the Browns and the Packers in a league where like you kind of look at the matchups and how they flip off and they're actually not that bad.
Yep.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, next question from our YouTube chat. This one comes in from Trevor Wright. Trevor wants to know Justin Fields or JJ McCarthy as a streaming option this week.
Can we agree that Justin Fields has the higher ceiling as a player for fantasy purposes?
Easily.
Yeah, no
we
doubt.
can easily agree.
But
a much lower floor potentially.
Boy,
it
that one
seems
makes
like
me nervous. Yeah.
Yeah, I do a McCarthy just add, but honestly, I don't view the Ravens as a great matchup right now. I know statistically they are, but they're much better. So this is a close call. Of course, Fields gets the Browns, so that might be another 10-7 game like we saw last night. And there's a almost zero chance JJ McCarthy gets benched. There's a really good chance that Fields gets benched.
You know what? Maybe that's a better tiebreaker for me is the idea that like which one of these could get benched.
Yes.
But if you're a heavy underdog or maybe you started Brock Bowers, maybe you're just like, I'm just going to hope for the 27 points from Fields.
Generally, I don't look at projections because I don't know who does them here, but I don't think they're very good. Right. Yeah. But if you are down by a bunch, then Justin Fields is the play, right? Yeah. But otherwise, I would go JJ McCarthy.
One of our great producers here, Christina, is somewhere in a very cool place right now because of her husband who has work in this very cool location. So I don't want to dox her right now, but she's enjoying the show. And she is a big believer in these haikus and the potential they should be a recurring segment for you, Mike.
Okay. I agree. I thought you did a great job.
All right. I have a lot of free time to do extra work. So
oh, yeah, totally.
It'd be great.
Totally.
No, I could do that. No,
now that you bought a couch. You should be good.
Yeah,
I
what
could
else?
Settle into the couch, put on my glasses and hat, and
That's
write
right.
poems. Write
I just
poetry.
want to know, like, did you buy that hat?
No, this
intentionally
is,
sometime?
I did buy this hat at Spirit Halloween a month ago for our Club
okay,
Trend
okay,
segment,
okay.
which, by the way, if you watch FF Now, coming back this week.
Yes.
Club Trend back for FF Now here in week 10.
Love it.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's find out if maybe we bring the haikus back. How do people feel about Mike's haikus on today's show? Which one of them led off the top? As a reminder, we had despair, trash, and pain.
Wait, the best one got the fewest votes. What the heck?
And
really?
pain
What was your
comes
favorite
in
one?
with 46% of the vote winning. Let's read
Should I
pain
read
one more
Pain?
time for the people.
Pain, that was the last one, right?
This
Yeah,
was the
Pain.
last one.
Need 10 points to win. 57-yard touchdown. Flag on the play.
That's such a
Pain.
good one. I think that's a really
I wrote
good
that
haiku.
in like 5 seconds, I swear.
I think you have a new calling.
I think you do
That's
too.
fine. Are
I'm-
you just trying to get rid of me? Is this like
Yes.
that?
No, I'm worried because I obviously, as you guys know, I've become the stand-up guy on the show, right? I do a lot of stand-up now, and it
We
still
know you
happens.
use ChatGPT. Don't you
And
have to lie.
and now I feel like you're going to become the poem guy. We're just going to break out stuff. So Field, I want to know:
It's okay. It was empty.
are you the like? What's your like
what do you
spiel? What's
bring
your
to the
bit?
table
I
here?
think I'm the hair guy.
You're the hair. Oh, that's what it is.
The hair guy
Okay,
now.
Style
all right.
hair guy. Okay.
You're the athlete. You did the mile, right? You're the one that had the lungs to be able to get through a mile for us.
Yeah, no big
so I
deal.
appreciate that. Thank you.
I gotta
So
work
instead
on
of dad jokes now, I'm a poem guy.
Yeah. Next thing, your new Fantasy Football Now dad joke needs to be delivered as a haiku, and you need to do both of them at the same time.
So I think when Wes Welker joined Twitter, longtime NFL wide receiver Wes Welker, his
Yep.
initial bio is something like professional tweeter who wasted 13 years playing receiver in the NFL.
that
Mike
might be
Clay,
you.
Professional haiku writer.
That's
who
right.
Wasted 20 years as a fantasy football analyst.
That's right. That's
Love
right.
that.
That's thank you for punishing me.
Thank you.
Did your
Thank you for
daughters
that.
read
You're
them or
welcome.
no?
They did not. No.
Okay.
Yeah. I've written them since.
They probably don't really care about your fantasy football matchups either, do they?
No, not really. My oldest is 11, so I got her first team this year, and she was more interested in like changing the team name and stuff like that. But
Sure.
she's
Yeah.
sort of following like who she has and stuff. So we're getting her there. So her
Okay.
team's very good.
We're
but-
getting there.
Do you guys
Trying to get her.
believe in changing like team name or logo or
Throughout the
anything?
season?
No.
I only
Not during
do
the
it.
season.
I do it during the season if I need a
My team sucks. right?
correct.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I let it roll.
Of course, Mike doesn't believe in that.
No, I agree in like shaking up the players, but the team name's not going to do anything.
No,
Although
shaking
I
up
could
the
use that in
players,
My FF Now team
that's-
that needs a shake up. So
Wow. See?
I need to shake that up. Maybe I should change the team name. Maybe that's the issue.
That's
Chase
it.
Briscoe best.
That's right.
That's what it is.
It's all coming up Chase Briscoe this year. So
Love
Good
that.
name coming up, Chase Briscoe.
Coming up Chase Briscoe.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
Hey, this was a fun show. Thanks for doing this with us, guys.
Yeah. See
And
you
for
manana.
everybody hanging out with us, this was great. Make sure that you have fun watching the games this weekend. I promise they'll be more fun than the Thursday night football matchup we had yesterday. Don't forget to love each other. Today's show was presented by Little Caesars, and make sure that you are kind to yourself. We love you guys. You deserve it. We'll see you here on Fantasy Football Now on Sunday morning. Peace.